Hello everyone, Jack here. We're in the shop with Steve. How you doing, Steve?
Doing well.
We're going to go through the onboard soap system, the newest systems that we have available to have the soap right on board the machine. And Steve's going to walk you through how we install this.
Okay. So once you receive the system, it's going to consist of the filter. This keeps any of the debris from getting into the pump, the pressure reducing valve, and then the soap pump itself. On either side of the soap pump, we have check valves to keep the water only flowing in one direction. We don't want to backflow water through the pump head. You're going to place the unit behind the main support beams of the machine. Now, how we're going to mount this is going to be with 4 U-bolts. They're 2-inch U-bolts. And what we've done here at the shop is I've taken a 3-inch block, 3-inch spacer, to create a gap between the rain hood and the onboard soap system back plate. So we're going to place that, going to even up the sides. So check your measurement on the outside. I've got approximately 1 inch and 1/8 on either side, here and here, so it's even. And then what we're going to do is on the back plate, we're going to measure 2 inches down from the top and then 2 inches up from the bottom, and we're going to make a small dot just on the outside of your support beam. We don't need to mark both sides at this time. We'll use the U-bolt to line it up on the bench where we have an easier job of drilling those holes out. So once we have the 4 points marked, we'll take it to the bench and drill the holes to mount it to the frame.
Okay, Jack here. We're back in the shop with Steve, and we're going to walk through the parts and how to drill the holes and set everything up. So take it away here, Steve.
All right. So once we've made our marks based off of the frame of the machine, we have our 4 points that we marked 2 inches from the top and 2 inches from the bottom. We can take our U-bolts, and they can be straight across from each other. Even though these braces on the machine are angled, the bolts will work just fine straight across. There's plenty of room in the bolt itself. So we'll place one edge of the bolt on our existing mark, and then we'll just mark right underneath where the second leg is going to go to get our points to drill through for the U-bolts. So I'll mark the other side, same way. Okay, and now these are 5/16 inch U-bolts. So you're going to want to get a 5/16 drill bit or one size over. And we're going to go ahead and drill through the plastic. Be mindful of your fingers and what's behind you, or what's behind the workpiece. There's 1, 2. Let's go ahead and check that, check our fit. That will function. So, second hole. Once again. Very good. Are you still recording?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
There we go. You got it.
Yeah.
He did it.
I'm going to get one size bigger drill bit.
So what size drill bit was that, Steve, now you're using?
This one now is I believe it's a 21/64. It's a one size over 5/16.
One size over 5/16.
Yep.
Or if you're like me, I would take a 5/16 and go around and around a little bit more.
that works as well. Most of the drill bits in the shop are so worn though you can't actually read what's on them.
There you go. That's our tip for the day.
When in doubt, wallow it out. All right, so now we'll take our U-bolt once again, put it through, very good. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to take the unit, put it back onto the machine. We'll continue using our spacer, and then we'll tighten the bolts up. So what we do is we take it, kind of thread it through the arms, like that. We'll set it back down on our spacing block, And the spacing block can be made out of any material, it doesn't really matter. We were just trying to get a nice gap. We don't want the soap system to be too tight on the rain hood because we're going to have the soap suction line, we're going to have the soap discharge line, and then we're going to have the incoming water line. So those three lines, we don't really want them cramped onto the top of the panel. So that's what the 3-inch spacer will get for us. So we'll go ahead and thread the U-bolts through the frame. Now the U-bolts are supplied with a steel back brace and then 2 nylock nuts. So we're going to put the steel brace on first, and then we'll go ahead and put the nylock nuts on. All right, so on the view from the back side of the machine, we're going to have our steel back plate. That's going to go over the U-bolt, and then we're going to put our nylock nuts on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the hardware on first before I start tightening down to make sure that the unit is still square with the machine itself. So I'll come back and tighten these down once all the nuts and back plates are in place.
Okay, we're back now with Steve to explain what's the next step.
All right, so once we have the unit bolted to the frame, all the nylocks are tight, and you're happy with your level of the system, we're going to install the lines to make the unit function. So first we've got the soap suction line. It's going to be coiled up in the box. It will not be attached to the unit, but it's just a small threaded coupling right at the neck of the pump and a small hose. So you'll take that hose, place it up onto the bell, and then thread the collar on to lock that hose in place. This is going to go from the soap pump down to your soap pail. So on this unit, we have a 5-gallon pail placed on the lower base frame. So we're going to pass the weighted filter down through the back, behind everything. And that, we're just going to crack the seal on that and drop the weight down into the bucket. Now, on this suction line, we do have a needle valve, which we can use to throttle the amount of soap going through the system, and a check valve. This little blue device here is a check valve. Now, this needs to be in place in order for the pump system to work properly. So if this gets cracked, lost, taken out, you're going to call us and ask for another one because you have to have this in place. The needle valve itself, what it's for, we currently have the pump running at a 200-to-1 ratio. That's the highest ratio that we can do. If you have extremely soft water on site, there still might be too much foam or bubbles from the brush unit on the surface of the vehicle, which is difficult to rinse off. So what you can do is you can slowly decrease the amount of soap coming through by just restricting it through the needle valve there. So that's what that's in place for. But we do recommend the 200-to-1 ratio, or a little bit less if you have excessive bubbles on the surface of the vehicle. Now, the other two connection points for this are going to be the inlet water line and the discharge line. So the pump always operates in this, the water flow always operates in this direction. You can see that there's arrows on the check valves in the pump and on the filter body itself. So in and out. You're going to take the water or the soap outlet, and on a new machine, that's going to go into this top water valve. This is our soap inlet valve. So we're going to bring that hose from the discharge up in. It's going to slide onto the machine, and then you're going to tie that down with a hose clamp. Now, the water inlet, that's going to come from your overhead feed line that comes from your ball valve through the overhead festoon system down into the machine. So you're going to cut into that water line, and you're going to have a T so that you can take and put into the water line that feed. So you can arrange these hoses as you need to so that the incoming water line from the overhead festoon can feed into this T and continue the water to the main control valve of the machine.
Can you bring the T out more so I can see it?
Let's see.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. So you'll want everything tucked back safely so that when it's in operation, this doesn't get snagged or caught on anything. But we'll have the overhead line coming into the system, feeding water here, which will in turn feed it up to the soap unit, down, and then back into the soap valve. Now, once you have the system ready for operation, when you hit the start button, you'll need to determine which left hand or right hand is going to be the soap spray arch. And we'll go into that in another video on how to determine which spray bar will be your soap spray bar.
Awesome. Good. Thank you, Steve.
Okay.